Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're looking at something absolutely fundamental to who you are, how you act, and honestly, how you see the entire world. We are unpacking Alfred Adler's concept of the lifestyle. Now, in Adlerian therapy, your lifestyle isn't, about the clothes you wear or the car you drive. It's the cognitive blueprint that you use to navigate your very existence. It is literally the unique, deeply ingrained wiring that makes you, well, you.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. First, the cognitive blueprint. Then, decoding your private logic, followed by the first social laboratory. After that, we'll be evaluating Adlerian therapy. And finally, looking at the power of purpose. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Cognitive Blueprint. In individual psychology, your lifestyle is basically the unique, self-consistent way you think, act, and move toward your goals.
To really appreciate this, we kind of have to contrast it with other psychological models. You see, a lot of deterministic models frame us essentially as victims, like we're hostages to our biological drives or permanently trapped by past traumas. But Adlerian theory, it flips that script entirely. It suggests that, sure, while we're undoubtedly influenced by our past, we absolutely are not defined by it. Instead, we are the active creators of our own lifestyle. We actually have agency over our behavior. It's a real game changer.
Adler himself summed this up beautifully. He wrote, "The lifestyle is a person's way of being in the world. It is the movement of the actor toward his goal." Notice that crucial word right there, actor. You aren't just a passive observer sitting in the audience of your life. You are the actor, actively moving toward a destination.
Moving on to Section 2, Decoding Your Private Logic.
So if your lifestyle is the blueprint, private logic is the internal voice that makes your actions make perfect sense to you, even if they completely confuse everyone else. According to the psychological literature, this logic is held up by 4 primary convictions. Let's break down these 4 pillars one by one.
Pillar number 1 is the self-concept. These are your deep-seated convictions about who you are. This could be an internalized belief like, I'm incompetent. Or on the flip side, maybe it's, I'm a natural leader. Take a quick second and think about the invisible labels you've placed on yourself. That right there, that's your self-concept at work.
The second pillar is the self-ideal. Now, while the self-concept is who you think you are, the self-ideal is what you believe you should be in order to actually have a place of significance in the world. For example, a conviction like, I should be perfect to be loved. This sets up these invisible and honestly often punishing rules for how we seek out belonging and acceptance.
And this brings us to the third pillar, the picture of the world. These are your convictions about the world and the people around you. Do you fundamentally believe that life is dangerous and people are just out to get you? Or do you lean more towards people are generally cooperative? Your worldview dictates whether you approach daily interactions with your guard up or with open arms. Finally, we have the fourth pillar, ethical convictions. Simply put, this is your personal code of right and wrong. It's the internal moral compass guiding your behavior and, frankly, helping you judge the actions of others. Together, these 4 convictions create a tightly woven, self-reinforcing web of logic.
But a massive question naturally arises here. We have this super complex web of self-concept, ideals, and worldview. But where does this logic actually come from? Because we certainly aren't born with these specific convictions.
That takes us to Section 3, the first social laboratory.
Here is a staggering takeaway for you. By the time a kid is just 5 or 6 years old, their basic lifestyle is typically already locked in. What's truly fascinating is how this links your childhood environment directly to your adult behavior. It's based almost entirely on a young child's perception of their place within their family unit.
Adler referred to the family as the first social laboratory. Within this lab, we have the family constellation and birth order. Whether you were the firstborn, the second, a middle child, the youngest, or an only child, each position creates wildly different social pressures. It carves out completely different niches. Like a firstborn might feel massive pressure to be responsible and maintain authority, whereas the youngest might seek attention through charm or maybe even rebellion. Birth order heavily influences a child's perception of exactly how they need to act to find their own significance.
Therapists map this all out using something called early recollections, or ERs. Adlerians use ERs as a sort of projective tool. And here is the really fascinating part. Adler believed we don't remember the past objectively, like a video camera recording events. Nope. Rather, we selectively remember events that reinforce our current lifestyle. So if your current worldview is that people are untrustworthy, you will subconsciously pull up childhood memories of being betrayed just to justify that current stance, Crazy, right?
Section 4. Evaluating Adlerian therapy. Let's step back for a minute and take an objective look at this whole framework.
The crucial point here is to balance the scales. Like absolutely any psychological framework, Adler's lifestyle analysis has areas where it absolutely shines and areas where it faces some pretty valid scientific and cultural critiques.
Let's start with the strengths. First off, it is deeply holistic and humanistic. It totally rejects that Freudian fragmentation of the human psyche, chopping us up into the id, ego, and superego. Instead, it respects you as a unified, purposive actor. Clinically speaking, this is incredibly empowering. By identifying your private logic, therapy allows you to see that your behavior isn't crazy. It actually makes perfect, logical sense within your own framework. And once you see that logic, you have a clear target for change, or what Adlerians call reorientation.
However, we definitely need to look at the limitations. A major one is subjectivity and interpretation. Assessing a lifestyle by interpreting birth order and selective early memories, well, that requires a ton of subjective judgment from the therapist. There's a high risk of therapist bias, where a practitioner might start, finding patterns that fit Adler's theories rather than the client's actual reality. On top of that, there's an issue of cultural specificity. Adler's focus on individual mastery and striving for superiority can easily clash with collectivist cultures where group goals are prioritized way over individual significance.
But despite these limitations, Adler's theories have absolutely endured. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the power of purpose.
Ultimately, the analysis of the lifestyle remains one of the most powerful diagnostic and therapeutic tools we have available. It beautifully bridges the gap between childhood development and adult behavior, giving us a compassionate, non-pathologizing way to understand our incredible human complexity. It really is the cornerstone of modern, goal-oriented counseling.
And that exact phrase, goal-oriented, is the key to everything we've talked about today. Adlerian theory posits that by analyzing your early memories and your private logic, we can figure out what's called your fictional finalism. This is the ultimate, sometimes totally hidden, goal that your entire cognitive blueprint is designed to hit. Your past isn't pushing you from behind. Actually, your fictional finalism is pulling you forward.
Which leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to reflect on today. If your brain is carefully curating your memories to justify how you act right now, what ultimate goal are your own selective memories trying to reinforce? Understanding that goal might just be the absolute key to rewriting your entire blueprint. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the logic behind your own lifestyle.